Hey there, Jude here with McLaren Boston, and today I'm pretending to be a proper YouTuber because this is a quick comparison between the McLaren GT and the McLaren 600 LT. Two completely different cars, both McLarens obviously, but I want to cover some of the differences and actually put both cars on camera side by side. Because in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, the GT is underappreciated. The 600 LT is one of my personal favorites. Can't knock this car. Super lightweight. Very special car. The coupes were limited to just 1 year in 2019. The Spiders were limited to just 1 year in 2020. And of course, the party trick with this car is the top exit exhaust. That's right there. So the car actually from the factory doesn't have mufflers. The exhaust comes down and goes straight out the top of the car, which is very, very cool. This particular one is in Onyx Black. It's got these upgraded wheels with the red calipers. And inside we've got P1 bucket seats with some really good carbon fiber. So on the sill, on the steering wheel, and down the center screen, around the switches there, around the switches here. This one does have the Bowers & Wilkins audio system, which in the 600 LT was an option. So the 600s actually didn't have radios or air conditioning standard, and for $0 you could upgrade your car to having air conditioning and a radio, and then further you can get the Bowers & Wilkins, which is what this car has. Onyx Black's a great paint. It's some really nice metallic. So you can see how that comes through there. So the thing with this car is it's basically a very lightweight, stripped out go-kart. It's not the most comfortable McLaren. It's not uncomfortable by any means, but this car is meant to be a track toy. That's what it's for, and it just so happens to be road legal. The GT, on the other hand, sits on the same platform as the 720S. So the 600 is the lightweight track-focused version of the 570S. So that's the older platform, the older carbon fiber tub, and this is a 3.8 liter V8 that you can trace back to the 12C, the MP4 12C, the first modern McLaren, if you will. Where the GT's on the newer platform, it's on the 720S platform. So it's the same carbon fiber tub, same chassis, and same 4 liter twin turbo V8 that you get in the 720S. In the GT, it actually makes more power than the 600. So this makes 620 PS or 612 American horsepower, depends on how you measure it. Where the 600 makes 600 PS or 591, I think is the number, American horsepower. This also makes more torque. They both do 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. They both do over 200 miles per hour as well. Driving the GT is a very different experience to the 600. So the 600 is, like I said, a little lightweight go-kart. The GT feels like more car because of the platform that it's on. It feels closer than a 720 than to a comfortable touring car. And my main issue with the way that McLaren marketed the GT is that it's been marketed as a grand touring car. But for me, you can't put leather in a car and give it a trunk and call it a touring car. Like, all of our cars are equally capable at doing road trips. This will obviously be more comfortable than the stripped out, you know, little go-kart that doesn't even have insulation or carpeting. But like I said, this feels like it's more car, it's more substantial, because it is, because of that platform. So they basically took the 720S, put smaller turbos in this, so even though it's down about 100 horsepower over the 720, it makes the power differently. The turbos spool up quicker, so you get more grunt in the low to mid range. So the car's actually more fun to drive at like real world speeds. But because it's a McLaren and because it's still built on that 720 platform, you get that crazy carbon fiber tub with the big sill and everything. You have these really wide, aggressive hips here with the side intakes. And you have the integrated spoiler that sticks out the back like that, which is very cool. I tell everybody that the GT is the best sounding series production McLaren. So Senna aside, P1 aside, obviously those are you know, limited edition Ultimate Series, but for series production, the cars that are actually coming out of the factory regularly, excuse me, this is the best sounding one. All the cars sound good because they just make the sound that they make. The 600 sounds good. We'll fire up both of them actually. Sounds good because it doesn't have mufflers and just shoots the exhaust straight up into the sky. But with the GT, they actually paid attention to exhaust note and they tuned it so that you get a lot of burbles and rumbles and pops and bangs that you don't get in the other cars. The interior, like I said, they threw leather in it and called it a touring car. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a supercar. Yeah, you have nice leather Napa leather seats rather, but this one's got carbon fiber on the wheel, carbon fiber paddle shifters as well, and carbon fiber around the center screen. But even sitting in it, it feels more elevated because it's the newer platform and the materials are nicer and the fit and finish is a lot better. But it's, like I said, the presence, it feels like it's more car because it is. Let's do the side-by-side thing where we open up the doors. This lever action here for the door release, lever action is just the door release. This is an homage, a throwback to the Mercedes SLR McLaren, the way that they did the door handles on that car. There we go. With the 600, it's underneath here, just like on the 570S. Got that there. Let's open up this side. Pretty cool. Look at that GT and tell me it's not a supercar, right? Let's start up the 600 so we can hear it. Both of these cars are relatively warm. These aren't going to be true cold starts because we just cleaned them and moved them around a little bit. But foot on the brake pedal, hold the button down. I'm going to lean out the car. It sounds good, you know, as a 600 horsepower lightweight supercar should. So we got temperature there. I'm gonna put the car into sport mode so we get the higher red line. Ooh, it's still not warmed up enough for that. I'm gonna let it warm up. It's not gonna let me rev higher than 3,000 RPM right now. Let's do the same thing with the GT. Let's start it up, get it going so we can hear it. And again, you might say that I'm wrong, but this is the better sounding car. It's got way more grunt, more burble. It's just more aggressive. And that's on purpose, because they wanted the GT to be the better experience overall. All right, there's our red line up to 7,000. Let's lean out the car and listen to it. It sounds good. Doesn't sound bad. Sounds like a twin turbo V8. But now we listen to the GT. And what it's not doing right now, which it'll do when you're actually out on the road and driving, every time you're driving along and you lift off the accelerator pedal, you get a lot of like the blah 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 burbles and little pops and bangs and all those rumbles. Man, it's cold. Well, this video's gone long enough. Ultimately, between the two, there's no wrong answer, but I will no longer stand for the GT Slander. If it were up to me, they would have named it something else, but it's not up to me. But here we are, two beautiful McLarens, both amazing examples. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.